Hello, hello, hello. Good day, everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning in. So be sure to let me know where you are tuning in from, whether you are watching this live or you are catching the replay. Let me know where you're watching from or where you're tuning in from. I love to hear from you. You can say hi, you can say gratitude, since that's what we're talking about on this week. But I love hearing from you all. I thank you all because I know that I've had a few conversations this week with a few of you, and I thank you so much for letting me know that you're watching, you're following along, and I truly hope that what I am sharing is something that is helpful to you because there are a lot of us deal with a lot of things, especially when it comes to the workplace and how we can have value, especially if someone is in an individual contributor role or early career. It can be a really difficult position to put yourself in. How can I be valuable? But honestly, regardless of what position you are in, there is something that every single person can do. It's just a matter of figuring out how to best translate that. So, hello, for those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Lapora Lindsay, and I speak about workplace value. The 17 years as a military spouse and working for over 10 different companies has given me a really unique insight into how workplace value can be interpreted, how there are challenges, struggles, and obstacles. And through not only my own experience, but through the conversations that I've had with former clients or organizations that I've worked with, I've really come to realize just how important workplace value not only is, but how it's important how we communicate that to those who we are around. So, this week, we're talking about the gratitude advantage. Work smarter, not harder. So, the gratitude advantage. How do we work smarter, not harder? So, I think that it's really important for me to start off with this. I am not a gratitude guru. I'm not a gratitude guru. And basically, what that means is I am someone who practices gratitude. I do my best to be mindful of the things that I am grateful for, to be mindful of all of the things that I have in my personal life and I have in my professional life. But y'all, I'm not perfect at it. I am not someone who is, you know, in the mindset of gratitude all day every day. And I think that that's important to note. It's important to note because when we are sharing information and sharing insights, we a lot of times we expect that the person who is sharing it to have it all together, and many times they don't. And I think that that's important. Is what I share I have found to be beneficial for me, but this is also a journey that I will continue to be on. But I thoroughly enjoy, and I have seen the benefits. So as we talk about gratitude, let's I- one of the most important, or the core idea, the big idea here, is that gratitude isn't about being positive all the time. It's not about being positive all the time. It is about choosing what we want to focus on. So, gratitude is about choosing what we want to focus on. And with that comes a lot of benefits, not just in the personal realm, but there also comes some benefits as well in the professional realm. There was an article of there was some research that were done on individuals or professionals in Japan, and it was a 12-day gratitude experiment where individuals, a certain group of individuals, were needing to note the things that they were grateful for versus individuals who were didn't note it. And what they found was that there was a significant increase in workplace engagement from those individuals who were noting those things that they were grateful for. So we see that there is some professional tie to being grateful, and that it's not just a, oh yeah, I got to stay positive all the time, because it's not the same. It's not synonymous with staying positive all the time. But the benefits behind this is that it can reduce stress when we are focused on those things that we are grateful for. It gives us a better interpretation of the day or the week, depending on when we are in that gratitude mindset. And it also provides us with an opportunity to, or a more accurate sense of progress, which I'm really excited about speaking a little bit more about here in the next few moments. And then also better decision making. So there are a lot of ties to how it can benefit. And when we're talking about workplace value, if we are able to engage and more in the work that we do, and not just engage more, we're not talking about just productivity, but to truly enjoy what we do, or to truly understand how it is the work that we do, the contributions that we make, how it is impactful, then it can make the workday so much better, as the research has shown. But before we get into that, I want to share a little reality check. And that is that when we think about gratitude, I especially we're focusing in on the professional realm. Not every job will meet our every need. And I'll say that again because it's so important. Not every job will meet our every need. You're going to have different roles for different seasons. And the reason why I share that is because when we are talking about, being grateful, being thankful, especially in the professional realm, I don't want to provide this misinterpretation that because we are grateful and because we are thankful, that magically there's going to be a culture fit. So if we have a job that is challenging and there's lots of obstacles, that all of that is going to magically disappear. It's not, because gratitude isn't magic. Gratitude isn't something that we use to ignore our reality. Gratitude shows us gratitude is the choice to choose what we focus our attention on, not to ignore, but to what are we going to put the majority of our attention on. So if you're just joining in, y'all, this evening we're talking about gratitude. And one of the things that we've already covered is that gratitude isn't about being positive all the time, but rather gratitude is about choosing what we want to focus our attention on, and that it's not going to be a magical culture fit just because we are grateful and thankful for the job that we have. And also, let me know where you're tuning in from or where you're watching in from. Would love to hear from you. And if you have any questions or comments, you can feel free to type those, and we'll be able to talk a little bit more about maybe some of the questions that you have. So back to this gratitude piece. When we look at gratitude from a workplace perspective, it shifts us from a mindset of I am grateful for XYZ. I'm grateful for this, to something that's actually a little different. And most people wouldn't think of it this way, but it shifts us to what created progress or movement forward this week. What created progress or movement forward this week? So it is a bit more strategic, and upfront we'd be like, well, what does this have to do with being thankful and grateful for our job, and how is this supposed to help me with my job, right? Well, it helps because number one, gratitude has to be practiced. It is not assumed. It must be intentional. What I think is interesting is a lot of times when we look at things like, being grateful, being thankful for something, or even when we just look at in a more broader term progress, we think of it as something as if we're doing our day to day, that's enough. And it is, but we have to be intentional. And gratitude is the same way. What are we choosing to focus our attention on? What are we choosing to view differently? The other part about it is that gratitude, when we're talking about using it in the workplace, it's not just emotional, like it just doesn't make us feel good, but it's also informational. It gives us data. So, take for instance, I've worked at a lot of different companies, and just being a military spouse, it's given me the opportunity to see how different companies and organizations work at different locations. There's a lot of nuance there. And one of the things that I found is that there are the good, the bad, and the ugly. When it comes to supervisors, when it comes to projects, when it comes to conversations that we have, you have the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what does this mean? It basically means that sometimes you will work with somebody and you don't really like how they lead, or you don't like how they operate or how they speak to people, whatever the case may be. When we use gratitude in these types of scenarios, it's not, oh wow, I'm so grateful to work with this person. No, because we're not gonna lie to ourselves. You may not be grateful to work with that person, but the gratitude comes in and understanding, you know what, that's a lesson learned. I'm grateful for that lesson, knowing how to treat people or how to not treat people, or knowing what a great coworker looks like or what a great supervisor looks like. And we don't always need to be in situations where we see the best. Sometimes seeing the worst gives us enough insight to say, I know that that's not what I want anymore, or that's not the type of environment that I want to be in. And I'm grateful for that insight. So, those are the types of things that kind of push us forward, or saying, you know what, I'm grateful for the push that this person is giving me to look for another opportunity, to look for another job, to maybe try out a different project, to maybe volunteer for something different, to maybe expand on something that is new, because it is not, every job is not going to be exactly what we want it to be. Every job is not going to be perfect. Even our dream job isn't going to be perfect all of the time. But that gratitude just, it grounds us in the sense of, now we're going to be like, you know what? Thank you. And you may not actually say thank you, but you know what? Thank you, because you just gave me the push I needed to get out of this situation, or you gave me the push I needed to go further. So looking at it, it's slightly different. The other part about gratitude is it allows us to adjust from a gap mentality to a gain mentality. And I really wish I had an image for this. I do, but I didn't upload it. So whenever we start at a new job, or when we start a new project, or when we start working with someone new, we have our mindset of, this is where I am now, and this is where I would like to be. So, your ideal self. Many times, as we are making progress, we focus on where we are currently versus our ideal self. And when we do that, we are focused on the gap. Oh gosh, I still haven't done, that project, and I still haven't gotten promoted, and I still haven't gotten that salary, and I still haven't, made any additional improvements here. Focusing on now to the ideal person. That's that gap. What we forget to focus on, and what gratitude can help us focus on, is the gain. Even though I don't have that promotion, look how far I came. Look how many small wins I've made. Look how many big wins I've made. Look how much I've done over the last week. Look how much I've done over the last month. And when we focus on that, that changes how we operate. That changes how we perform. That changes how we speak about ourselves. So that, and in turn, changes our workplace value. Because now it's not, oh, I haven't gotten to this point yet. Now it's, these are all of the things that I have accomplished on my way to this point. These are some of the things that I've done. And that's not uh, to be boastful. That's not to be egotistical. That is noting the facts, noting the effort that we have put in, noting the value that we have contributed, and being thankful for all of it. Everything that has gotten us to the point that we are now. Do we have a ways to go? Absolutely. But we've also accomplished so much so far. All right, y'all. So, as I prepare to close out today, just a reminder, a couple of things is that gratitude isn't about being positive all of the time. It's about choosing what we want to observe and focus our energy and attention on. Just because we are grateful and thankful, it doesn't mean that magically the job that we are working at is going to be, if it wasn't a culture fit before, it doesn't mean it's going to be a culture fit now just because we're thankful and grateful. But what it does mean is that we are realistic in knowing that maybe it's a job that is not our passion job, but it's paying for our passion. Maybe it's not the job that we see us are working in long term, but it's helping to pay the bills. And I'm not talking about staying in a culture that is toxic. I'm not talking about staying at a workplace that is harmful. I'm speaking about when the job is just, we're just losing that energy. How do we build that momentum back up? And it's to focus on the gain. It's to focus on, what we are learning from that current role that is going to help us get to that ideal self whenever that time might be. So the question that we asked is, instead of just asking, what can I be grateful for? It's what progress happened this week? What opportunities happened this week that created progress? And progress isn't about physically moving forward, but it's about maybe that momentum, maybe about our mindset, and that helps us to be grateful because we look at all of the things that we are not gapping, but gaining in. And it can certainly shift your performance when we're talking about workplace value and how you share that. All right, everyone. I'm Lepore Lindsay, and I am getting ready to sign off for the week. For those of you who are celebrating Thanksgiving this week, I hope that you have an absolute wonderful one as you spend time with family, friends, acquaintances, coworkers. I don't know who you're spending time with this week, but whoever you're spending time with this week, I hope that you enjoy your time. And that's it for me. And if you have any questions, have any comments, be sure to reach out and remember to stay adding value.